All right. Well, guys, we are excited to be here tonight, and grateful for everybody for joining us. We're going to try to keep this brief to the point and full of the energy that we have right now for this business and what's going on. My name is Scott Bennett, here with Dr. Stephen Moore. Here's kind of a little bit about myself to get things started. I've been involved with this business for a number of years now. But I've got 6 children, and absolutely love the ability to spend time with these guys, and love the different activities that we're able to do, and everything that's going on. Love being a dad, but I look at this, and I look at what this business has afforded me and what we get to talk about tonight, and I do get really excited. Going through that, I know we wanted to just kind of start by going through that a little bit. I know Steve feels the same way about his, and his 3 kids and his wife Nicole out there in Florida. And this has been a lot of fun. But we wanted really kind of dive in, first and foremost by looking at and kind of establishing what is, the state of the union, if you will, or the problem when you really look at it. Now, these are statistics from the United States. This is part of the census. This has been published. It's been looked at for a number of years, but this is at age 65, the average in this country. And that average doesn't look so great for most people, where 36% are dead, 54% are dead broke. You have 5% still working, and 4% are well-to-do, and 1% is wealthy. The first time I saw this graphic, I looked at it, and I really, wanted to harness in and want to look at it and say, okay, why don't I try to focus on, and why aren't we trying to be that 1%? And if we fall back to the well-to-do, well, at least we're well-to-do, but I don't want to shoot for still working. Definitely don't want to shoot for dead broke, or dead for that matter. But if I'm looking at that, how did the 1% actually do that? How did they get there? And if you break down that 1%, 74% of those are business owners. Now, when I first saw this, none of the other categories there were me. It didn't fit me. It didn't fit my personality. I wasn't an athlete or an entertainer. At the time, I was a lot younger. I didn't look at myself as a CEO, as a super salesperson or a top professional, but 74% were business owners. And I looked at that and I said, that I can do. That fits me. That's something I want to look at. And so what were my options? What do you look at when you're looking at starting your own business or operating your own business? And these are really kind of the ideas. You could start a small business and hope to grow it. But ultimately only 5% of those succeed, and that's mostly because there's no system. Franchises, 75% do succeed, because there's a turnkey system, but there's a huge barrier to entry, one that keeps most people out of it because it takes too much cash, it takes too much capital, too much net assets to actually get in and get things moving, and so I looked at that and said, okay, well, now what are my options? This is the solution. And this is what we're going to talk about tonight. What I want to really look at, with that is, do we have a good solution? Is it inexpensive? Is there a turnkey system? Are there competitive differentiation? Is there something that changes the way in which we look in the marketplace? And does it pass, these 5 key points? Now, when I say 5 key points, this is really what I'm looking at. There's 5 points in business that any business that I personally look at, it has to have these points. And it not only has to have them and meet them, it's got to look and it's got to kind of exceed those areas in each one of those. 5 key points, you got market trends. Are those working in our favor? Do you have significant products and technologies that do differentiate yourself in the marketplace? Do you have a company that is proven, that has a track record, that you can be proud of? And then what does that compensation and timing look like, right now? Am I looking at something, in the rear view and trying to catch up? or am I on the cutting edge or leading edge of, or tip of the spear, some might say. So all of that kind of works in our favor. Guys, the market trends that are driving this business are absolutely huge. Anything between social media, anti-aging, and health, which has gone through the roof. The pandemic has definitely pushed that, and particularly on the preventative side. Technology and communication, it's so much faster and easier to be able to talk to people and move things forward. And everything is changing, in the workforce, in that gig economy, and the way things are looking. For instance, you've got, things like TripAdvisor, Facebook, the way in which we communicate through social media. Uber changed, it became the world leader in transportation, and yet the business owns no cars. Airbnb, I'm actually in an Airbnb right now as we're talking, has become this massive, provider of real estate, and yet they own no real estate. You just look at how that works, and the future of business is without the employees. It's looking at things differently. It's trying to figure out how in which, how we can look at things and move things in a different direction so that we have the leverage, which we'll talk about in a little bit, without the downside risk. That's, in my definition, the simplest way we can look at the quote unquote gig economy, because we want the sword to cut one way, and in our favor. When you look at, dietary supplementation, preventative health, this is just going crazy right now. In the last 2-3 years, some statistics are saying it's up $20 billion in annual revenue in the United States alone, just within the last 2 to 3 years. And so it is definitely a trend that is moving things forward. And we're going to talk about how we're positioned in that market to really take full advantage of it. This is just vitamins and nutritional supplements, from 2000 to 2017. And quite honestly, we need to find another graph to kind of show what it's done since 2017. But the fact of the matter is it's grown, significant growth year over year for the last 20 plus years. And so it's something that you definitely want to, take advantage of. Now, here's where we start to say, well, where do we fit in this trend? How do we take advantage of it? When you're looking at supplementation, if you go to a Walmart, a GNC, a Rite Aid, or Costco, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of options of supplements you should take. And at the end of the day, guys, none of us really know how to read the label. The average consumer doesn't know the difference between this version and that version. It comes down ultimately to marketing. We come in with some huge differentiating technology that allows us to take full advantage of this confusion and allows us to show people exactly how this works and where we fit in. And it is a massive shift in the way people think about nutritional supplementation, where when healthcare providers and the world is out there telling people they need to be taking a supplement every single day, we come in with really the only proven answer. And I think it's just a perfect segue into what we have to offer, Steve.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. We come from different backgrounds, because when I was kind of prior to college, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do to provide, for the family I wanted to have one day. And when I was a kid, the doctors that I knew, my orthodontist, my dentist, my pediatrician, they all had the better toys than we were able to afford. And I was like, well, I like science and anatomy. Maybe I'll go be a doctor, and that's the way I'll provide. And as I was going through, school, and I started to look for other ways to generate some income on the side, which is why I started this when I was studying for boards. As I started to learn about this business model, I said, wow, there is a way here to create, freedom and to create a recurring revenue stream while I'm young, instead of having to wait until I'm retired, because a lot of people work 40 years at the expense of time with their family, their spouse, and a lot of the things that they want to enjoy in life. And they look forward to retirement. And I always thought that that was the way to go work hard for 40 years and then enjoy life when you're retired, but you miss so much, right? And so when I looked at this, at first, it was just a way to make some extra money when I was in school. But I said, wow, there are some people doing some pretty incredible things in this company. And if I'm going to work hard at something, I might as well work hard at something that has a financial vehicle to get me what I want. And if I could do it younger, great. So I started this at 27. And after learning about this and diving deep into it, I decided to do this instead of going into practice. So got my license and then walked away from $250,000 of education and 9 years of my life because I saw a better way of doing something and I could still do what I was passionate about, which is helping people improve their health. And so learning about the and having good products and great science was critical. If without great products and science, I didn't care what the opportunity was. And so as we dive into this key point number 2, what's very unique about this is there's tremendous innovation. In fact, Nu Skin and Pharmanex were the most innovative company in the United States by the American Business Awards for mid-cap companies. And the significance of that award was Apple Computer took first place, and then we took the stage right after them. We not only took it once for the biophotonic scanner, which we'll talk about here tonight, but also for the advances that we've made in understanding the aging process at a genetic level. So we took that award 1 year, and then a few years later, we got Most Innovative Company again. So many of you here probably know about the biophotonic scanner. It was funded by the NIH. So it was not developed by Pharmanex to sell their product, which is what I thought at first. It was developed by the government for disease risk assessment, and then Pharmanex later acquired it and took a machine the size of an MRI device to something that you can fit in the palm of your hand. And what it does is this technology now for the first time can measure antioxidant status in less than a minute, more accurate than blood. And we can show people that you have an issue, right? Your nutrition, your antioxidant levels are low. Here's a solution for it. Diet and lifestyle, certainly, right? But people need help. They're not getting the nutrients that they need from diet. And so that's where supplements come in. And what is great about the Pharmanex line is they have clinical studies and a money back guarantee that it will improve your score in 60 days, or they give people their money back. And the products are in the physician's desk reference, which physicians like to see as well. So this is the first time this has ever been able to be done where a company can say, we'll measure you and we'll prove to you in your body that it's working. This is completely disrupting this $50 billion market. So the test is really easy. It's completely portable. There's lots of different places you can scan. It costs less than $2 to do the test because we're not dealing with blood. It's non-invasive. And we get the results right away. And what we're finding is after testing 30 million people, the majority of the people fail. 94% of the people fail. And you think, wow, that's kind of surprising. But if you think about what people are eating, it's not surprising at all. This is just a way to uncover a major blind spot and put it in front of someone's face. So they now have a personal and emotional objective measurement about what they're doing. And it's amazing how people start to connect their lifestyle choices with their future health. And then we provide a product that has close to 100% response rate within 60 days. We can prove it to people and everybody else is guessing. And this is an extreme competitive advantage. And it gives our distributors a lot of confidence that the products that they're marketing to people are working. There's tremendous validation behind the technology. Stanford's published research. Yale's got a 10-year study. Texas Tech Medical School has been on the news and has used it in their clinic. It's been at the SUNY College of Optometry. It's been published in major ophthalmology journals. It's based on Nobel Prize winning science. It's been featured on the Dr. Oz show about preventing cancer. We've been featured on the Discovery Channel. Pharmanex was the official nutritional sponsor to the U.S. Olympic team. They're NSF certified. We talked about the PDR. And they've been top rated by Forbes, Dun & Bradstreet, and the Better Business Bureau. So this is a company and a product line that you can rely on. So what's nice about this is it's simple, right? Sometimes we make things too complicated and it doesn't drive action. And when you can simplify something complex, you can really make an impact on people's lives and you can build a business around it. So the score is low, is like a gas gauge. Low is bad, high is good. We know that people that score in this blue zone or higher have better antioxidant protection. Unfortunately, most people are down in this bottom range. You can see your smokers at the worst score, average American, not much better. And look at this, the people that are taking the Pharmanex supplements have 100% or more improvement in scores. We're talking about big, big improvements. My initial score was 31,000 and I thought I was doing everything great. It made me think a little bit, made me switch my supplements. My highest score has been 90,000, but I typically hover around 70,000. And we see this happen. And as people boost their antioxidants, we know there's a lot of clinical benefits of doing that as well. So we give people this baseline score. This is their starting point. And we start them on the nutritional therapy from Pharmanex, as well as improving diet. We retest them in about 2 months. We see an improvement or their money back. And then you'll see people continuously improve their score for about 4 to 6 months. And then they'll reach a steady state. And then you just want to keep that protection as high as possible. So it's giving people this feedback to keep them compliant and let them know that it's working. There's applications to all different types of healthcare providers, whether it's cardiology, internal medicine, OBGYNs, ophthalmology, dentistry, podiatry, chiropractic, dermatology, and many, many more. There's also lots of opportunities to do health screening events outside of doctors' offices, because a doctor is not required in order to do the scans. So there's lots of places that you can connect with people as well outside of healthcare. My brother-in-law, I scanned him at his house, right? This is his kitchen up in New York. His mom had just been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. So they were starting to get interested in this finally. And he scanned 16,000 the first time. Right. And he was pretty upset about that. And he said, you know what, I'm not going to buy your vitamins. I'm just going to do it with diet. And he is not the healthiest guy as far as his diet, but he went out and bought a Vitamix blender. Usually it sits back here in this back left corner here. And he spent about $30 a day on kale and all that other collard greens and vegetables and so forth. And probably about that much in toilet paper, because that stuff runs through you pretty quickly. But he was able, within a matter of several months, get his score up to 56,000. I mean, he had a huge improvement. The challenge is when I scanned him 6 months later, he was back down in the yellow zone, because it was really difficult to maintain that. So what he learned was that the best approach is to eat as good as you can, but then also take the supplements to make sure you're getting that insurance, because it's difficult to eat 10 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. So great to scan kids as well. These are my 3 kids when they were younger. This is a study. There's been several studies now done on kids. We have issues with kids now in our country where the life expectancy is going down, and it's because of what kids are eating. And the impact that we can make on children's health and the trajectory of their health for the rest of their lives is incredible. We can gamify nutrition for kids. I do health talks at my kids' school. I've got 4-year-olds up to 17-year-olds that we talk to. And my wife is getting text messages from all the other moms of food they're eating. And, hey, my kids want to know what we should buy at Whole Foods to get their score higher. And it's really fun to see how quickly people are engaging in healthier behaviors because of this biomarker. And so biomarkers really drive markets when you can measure things, whether it's cholesterol testing drove a $20 billion market in statins, bone density scans, blood glucose monitoring. Look at vitamin D as another example, and the awareness that was created. Antioxidants and oxidative stress, we believe, and many healthcare professionals believe, that this is the next new major biomarker in healthcare, because it addresses the number one cause of preventable disease, which is our diet and lifestyle. And what it's allowing us to do is completely disrupt this very confused and very fragmented $50 billion market in supplements. If you ask people, do you take supplements? Most people say yes. If you ask them if they're working, they'll say, I don't know. Well, that's a really easy person to transition to this product line when you're able to test them and give them a measurement. In addition to antioxidants, the company has acquired the leading genetics company on aging, where they can now use these gene chips to measure how your DNA is functioning. This is called gene expression or epigenetics. And they use this now to measure the aging process. And so on the left side here, you can see the young DNA expression. This is what your DNA is supposed to function like when you're young. As you get older, it changes the way it functions. And that's why we age. Kids heal a lot faster. They have more energy, right? Less wrinkles. As that DNA gets out of tune, kind of like an instrument getting out of tune, well, the song doesn't sound so well, or your body doesn't look as good or feel as good. And now that we can now understand and measure how the body is aging at a genetic level, it's allowed Pharmanex to create a whole new class of nutritional product formulations to be able to reset your old DNA back to how it was when you were young and really optimize the way your DNA is functioning using all natural products. Another category that we've gone into is collagen, right? I mean, what a growing market that has become. And people are wondering, is the collagen they're taking even doing anything, right? You buy the stuff at Costco and you really don't know if it's working. And so Pharmanex has this research and development engine to really build it better than other people. And so they have a product called Beauty Focus Plus, which is a specific collagen peptide that it's the first collagen product to have a clinical study showing efficacy on the market. And they've been able to then do studies with the beauty devices and show how it enhances their effectiveness by about 40%. So this product is really great for a lot of people to take that want to enhance collagen, not just in their skin, but also throughout their body. And here's what's new, right? A completely new product category is pre-launching tomorrow within the company called ageLOC Meta. And this is a metabolic product that restores gut health, metabolic chemistry, and inflammation in the body. And these are three major trends that are happening throughout healthcare and throughout the wellness industry. And this is a first and only product that has this type of science behind it. If you are curious about how important the microbiome is, this was a study that was published in Nature, which is one of the most prestigious articles. And they talked about how the microbiome or the gut plays a role in cancer and how the microbiome can have this interactions as far as the formation of tumor cells as well as metastasis. Here's another article just recently from MIT talking about turning the microbiome research into a force for health. And they talked about at the end here is there's a lot of basic science to do to figure out how to tweak the microbiome in a targeted way. Once we figure out how to do it, the therapeutic potential of the microbiome is what did they say here? It was it's quite endless, I think is what they said. And so this was in 2021. This is the research that Pharmanex has been doing for the last 7 years to try to figure out how we can create therapeutics that improve the microbiome to improve health benefits. And so what they discovered is this area of molecules called anthocyanins. And they find that people are severely deficient in anthocyanins. And when you take this targeted dose, which is about 220 milligrams of anthocyanins a day, it has these tremendous health benefits. So this is where the average person in the US is getting. This is the dose that you should be getting to get these health benefits. So they started to develop a supplement in that. And what we know is that most people have poor metabolic health. This isn't just about overweight people, but skinny people have metabolic issues. In fact, 7 out of 8 people are metabolically unhealthy. Only 1 out of 8 are metabolically healthy. So this is a product that's going to help a lot of people. And metabolic health is your body's, basically your biochemistry. And if you look at blood sugar, you look at insulin sensitivity, blood pressure, cholesterol, triglycerides, this is all your metabolic biochemistry. And you guys have heard about metabolic syndrome. It's all surrounded around this. And as we get older, we start to develop this syndrome because we're just not eating as well. We're not moving around as much as we should. And this is part of the aging process. And so what Pharmanex has been able to do is to really target the source of why people are having these metabolic issues. And it starts in the gut. They've done studies on fat tissue, muscle tissue, pancreas tissue, and liver, showing that this product improves the metabolic chemistry in these 4 targeted tissues as well. So we're not going to go into the details of it tonight, but we do have some webinars if you want to learn more about it. And they can literally, through this formulation, they can reset metabolic chemistry to somebody that's very healthy and is exercising quite a bit through this nutritional intervention. So what's great about Pharmanex and Nu Skin is they're not just developing Me Too products. They're literally have this innovative science and research and development engine to target the sources of aging and the sources of why we actually develop these health issues as we get older. Scott?
No, I mean, as you really look at that, Steve, I mean, honestly, the products, they really do speak for themselves. What sets us apart is the fact that those products are backed by this company that has a research and development engine that continues to innovate, continues to move things forward. And our company Pharmanex was actually founded completely independent, out of California by these three scientists. They all came from the pharmaceutical industry. They all had the background of taking natural ingredients and bringing them through FDA trials and taking them to market. And they've been able to do that successfully. Between the three of them, over 75 years worth of their careers was doing that through the pharmaceutical industry with some major drugs. As you can see, the inventor of the birth control pill, the head of Wyeth Labs and the deputy director of medicinal chemistry for Merck was the head of the team that invented Mevacor. So all of that, together is absolutely amazing. But when they brought that together, Joseph Chang, who is still today our chief scientific officer, they created this 6S process, is what they call it, and it brings every single product through the pipeline, and brings it through the selection, sourcing, specification, then the standardization, which is not easy to do when you're dealing batch to batch and year to year of natural ingredients, and then safety, and finally substantiation. Knowing that we have double-blind, placebo-controlled, crossover randomized studies on every product that we bring to market, Meta being probably the foremost in the fact that it hasn't even launched yet, and there's 4 published peer-reviewed clinicals that have been done on it, is pretty amazing, pretty unheard of. This is kind of some different laboratories and buildings that we own around the country and world. So we have about a $40 to $50 million R&D facility based in Provo, Utah. We have a duplicate one in Shanghai, China. And then we also have our own clinical research center in Beijing. And that really does set us apart. The fact that we have 75 scientists on staff, guys, that work solely for us, over 40 of which are PhDs in 13 different disciplines. You cannot just say that lightly, and yet it gets glossed over, so often. You need to understand that most nutritional supplement companies out there have 0 to 1 scientists on staff. So the research and development that is going on is really second to none. This is kind of some of the, quick stats and stuff that you can look at, but for me, the biggest one on here is that Forbes rated us the 5th most trusted company out there. We are traded on the New York Stock Exchange under the symbol NUS, so you can look up everything about the company and understand, what's going on with it. But it's not fly by night. It's very well managed. It's very conservatively managed, and that's a big part of it. Also, the biggest part of the company is really the heart of the company, and the fact that they have what they call the Force for Good Foundation that really does focus, number 1, on children, and number 2, on the environment. Because we get all of our products from natural sources, natural ingredients, and yet we also, want to help those who struggle and, struggle to help themselves, which is first and foremost children who find themselves in need. This is an incredible company. And guys, the more I've been around this company, the more I've been proud to be part of this company. And that really, kind of lends itself to knowing that you are bringing yourself in with a company that has a good heart and has a good track record, and something that you can really lean back on and rely upon.
So why timing now? When we look at income generation, we really have a couple different lifestyles to choose from. When I looked at this, or before I looked at this business, I just thought this top lifestyle, number 1, was the choice we had, right? Go get educated. Go work hard for 40 years utilizing your skills, and then enjoy life when you're retired, and boom, it's over, right? And you miss out on a lot of things. You miss out on those games with your kids, breakfast with your family, dinner, lunch, right? Travel, all these things during these 40 years of hard work. Well, when I looked at this, and Scott looked at this, we just said, hey, we could acquire some skills through mentorship in this business. We can work hard for a period of time. Scott and I are both in our 40s now, right? And now we've got time freedom, and we can work smart. And you guys have not just the same opportunity as us, because you've got the same exact compensation plan with the company, but it's actually better now today than it was when we started. It's easier today than it was when we started, for a lot of reasons. And we really believe that in the next several years, 3 to 5 years, you can do what it took Scott and I 20 years to build, because of the environment that we're in right now. So some of you maybe are young, you're just getting started. Some of you are in the middle of your careers and you're tired of the corporate deal. Maybe some of you are physicians and you're trying to figure out how to reinvent yourself because you're tired of insurance and what's happening in medicine. Or maybe you're later on in your years and you feel like you're kind of out of runway. And this is a way where you can start a business for yourself and really have that work-life balance and really enjoy the rest of your life while generating income. Now is such a great time for several reasons. Number one, if we look at the scanner technology, the biophotonic scanner, Scott and I got involved in the innovation stage. You think, well, the ground floor is the best time. That's the most difficult time. That's when we don't know what kind of market demand we're going to create. Are people going to embrace it? Is the business model going to survive? But we really believed in the technology and the company. And we've been able to create millions of dollars of income for our families during this stage, which innovation is only about 2.5% of the market. Then you start to get to your early adopters. It becomes a lot easier to talk to people. And you start to hit this tipping point or this upswing where this arrow is, and you start to move into the early majority and late majority. The opportunity that you've got in front of you over the next handful of years is far greater market potential than how Scott and I started. And you can see that you've got, if you're willing to work hard and focus, you can grab up more market share faster than we were able to do. The wellness trend is growing. The technology of the scanner has gone from something the size of an MRI machine to something that's portable. You can turn it on and in 30 seconds, you're up and running. Scott and I used to have to wait 45 minutes and carry a thermometer and a humidity sensor just to fire the thing up before we could do a scan or a presentation every single time. And it took 3 minutes to scan if it worked. It was the equivalent of dragging around these suitcase cell phones, right? When technology is big and clunky and expensive, it's cool, right? The cell phones were cool when my uncle had one in his Jaguar that was hardwired into his car, but he was the only person I knew as a kid that had that because of the expense. But as cell phones have gotten smaller, they've gotten easier, they've gotten less expensive. We all have cell phones, and many of us don't even have landlines because of that innovation. And that's what's happened with this scanner. The technology has gotten to a point where it's ready for mass market. We went from 0 studies to now over 100 studies backing the technology. The demand for supplements, as Scott mentioned, is going through the roof. And more and more physicians are feeling the pressure of declining reimbursements, and reps are just tired of the rat race and the impending doom of the next merger, acquisition, or layoff, right? Why do you want to live your life all stressed out? Yeah, continue to do your job to pay your bills, but do something for yourself on the side so you're not dependent on some company to determine if your family's going to get fed, next month, or you're going to have a good year, or what your future is going to look like. So now is a great time, while you still have some stability, to start something on the side before, some of the desperation happens to some people. Not saying that's going to happen to you, but there's no better time than now to start something. Our vision here is to implement this into 5% of doctors' offices around the country. We currently have 2,000 scanners out there. Our goal is to ramp it up to 50,000. And there's a 3.0 version of the software, which is going to blow your mind. It's going to be exactly the way that's going to make this thing much more efficient and easier to use. It's fantastic now, but we're like, we wish it could do this and this and this. And they're developing everything that we've asked them to do. And it's been very exciting to see that. We're going to see an S4 come out somewhere in 2024. So the company has continued to heavily invest in this technology. And what's nice about this is the company never asked any of their distributors to invest. So you have an opportunity to have your own business, and the company continues to innovate and feed that pipeline for you. So you always have something new and innovative to be able to grow your business. If you look at the trends in gut health, metabolic health, and inflammation, with this product coming out in 3 months, this ageLOC Meta, this is an opportunity for you to also participate and position in front of a new product launch by growing your network today, because the more accounts you have between now and this launch, the more market share you'll be able to grab with this new market. And then another reason now is a technology innovation called Empower You. And the company just got approval by their board to invest $500 million in digital infrastructure to connect the products to a community and a discovery platform, where they're building this entire ecosystem where people can have a better understanding of their health, how they're aging, and products that can help them optimize their skin, how they feel, and how they live their life. It's all going to come together, and hundreds of millions of dollars is being invested in this right now. So it's all their beauty devices are going to start to get connected devices to these to this ecosystem, and there's things that we can't talk about that are going to be mind blowing as far as some of the partnerships and investments that the company is making right now. So now is the best time to get started, because the sooner you get started, the more opportunity you have to grow your network. If you start later, there'll still be an opportunity, but it's always easier to grab out more market share the sooner you start. And this is a very unique window that we have here right now with a lot of the things that are happening that I mentioned. You've got multiple entry points of how you want to get started. We went over a lot of products here tonight. There is a lot of opportunity within this company, but you can just pick one product if you want to. I mean, Scott and I, all we knew about was the scanner and LifePak. We didn't even know there was a skincare product, and we focused on what we were passionate about. And we've been able to build the largest distributorship in the company by being focused on that. And over time, we've diversified because people we've come in contact with say, I like the beauty industry better. Great. Here's a business that you can grow that. Some people now, we have this explosion that's happening in social selling. They're talking about social selling being a big threat to Amazon right now because there is a huge economy of products being moved through micro influencers in social selling. And some people say, you know what, that's easier for me. I can see myself doing that. And for those of you that have international contacts, you know, there's an opportunity to grow this internationally. I didn't think I would ever grow this internationally until I started to learn about this. I'm like, well, I've got a friend that is from Colombia, and I've got a friend that's from Europe, and maybe they know some people. And, you know, I didn't know anybody outside the country, but now I've got business in 20 countries around the world, because other people have those relationships, and the world is connected in a way today that it's never been connected like before. Certainly when Scott and I started, that was pre-Facebook and all that stuff. Now all these networks, people are extremely accessible because of LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram and all this other stuff that we have access to. So here's how you get started in the business. If you want to get started with the entry point with the scanner, you can get started fast, medium, or slow. If you want to move fast, if you're a physician, you invest in getting a scanner so you can get it up and running in your practice. The initial investment's $3,500, and then it's $130 per month for the device. And that covers all your maintenance, all your updates, and you get about $2,500 in product. All your training and support is included. If you're not a doctor and you're a rep and you want to build this, you can get a $550 discount because we're not doing an integration into a practice. If you're not in a position to invest in a scanner today, there's other ways of getting started where you can qualify for a scanner down the road. And the next best option is to do the medium kit, which allows you to start your qualification to not only get a scanner faster, but also to get to a higher commission structure faster. And that investment is $1,229, and you get a bunch of product included in that. And if you want to start slow, we don't require you to invest anything to start with the company. You don't have to buy any product. Our distributors buy product because they want to, not because they have to. And they purchase one of these packages as just a business strategy. It's a lot less than starting any other franchise that I know. And you've got all that infrastructure of a very well-run, multi-billion-dollar company that does all the operations and registration and shipping and all that stuff that we don't want to deal with. So you choose how you want to start. If you want to start with a scanner, if you say, hey, I want to start with the social selling side of things, there's a couple ways of starting. We have products that we know sell through social media, and you can get a bulk kit of those products to maximize your commission and get off to a faster start. That bulk kit is $599 in product. When you sell that, you earn about $350 in retail commissions. And if you're not in a position to buy the bulk kit, you can start slow and just try some products. And you can start to pre-sell those products and then buy the bulk kit after you've already pre-sold it and actually have it become self-funding. So it just depends if you want to move fast or slow. There's lots of different options to get started with the company. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. And Scott, great job tonight. It's always great working with you. I'm really excited about where we are and where we're going and growing this team and teaching people how to be successful and get out of this rat race and have some more autonomy.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. It's been great. And we'll talk to you all soon.